Sa pamamagitan ng one-on-one interview ng Asia's King of Talk na si Boy Abunda sa presidential candidate na si former Senator Bongbong Marcos, makikilatis ng publiko kung karapat-dapat bang siya ang maging sunod na presidente ng bansa. 10 katanungan tungkol sa iba't ibang isyu na kinahaharap ng Pilipinas ang kailangang sagutin ni BBM. 5 minuto ang nakalaan para sagutin ang bawat katanungan. Kabilang sa mga katanungan ay ang isyu tungkol sa environment, COVID-19, poverty, OFW, social media and pornography, rape-related abortion, drugs, utang ng Pilipinas, West Philippine Sea, at presidential qualifications. May personal question din na itinanong si Boy Abunda na kailangang sagutin sa loob lang ng 1 minuto. Narito ang mga sagot ni BBM sa mga mahahalagang isyu na kinahaharap ng bansa. Environment.
Let's begin the interview. And let's talk about the environment. Specifically, the issue of mining, which is one of the most controversial environmental issues. Noong Abril 2021, President Duterte lifted yung 9 na taon na moratorium on granting new mining permits. Ito'y ginawa niya through Executive Order 130. December 2021, ang DNR naman, ang Department of Environment and Natural Resources also lifted a ban on open pit mining. Ito na may ginawa nila through Administrative Order number 2021-40. Pinuri po ito ng mining industry. Samantala, binatikos naman ito ng mga environment and human rights defenders. Ang aking tanong, Senator Bongbong, you're applying to become the next president of the Philippines. If elected, pagtitibayin mo ba ang mga desisyong ito ni President Duterte at sa kanang DNR o ipapawalang bisa?
Well, ang mining talaga ay very controversial, pero dapat ang tingin natin dyan, that is also very valuable source of revenue for the government dahil ang laki ng ating mga natural resources dito sa Pilipinas. Dapat siguro, lalo na in these difficult times, we should take advantage of that. However, we have seen some of the disasters that have happened when it comes to mining. Kailangan lang talaga nating iwasan yan, the effect on the environment.
Okay, you worry about open pit mining, but you are open to sustainable mining.
Absolutely.
COVID-19.
Ang aking katanungan po, kung ikay papalarin manalo bilang presidente ng Pilipinas, and given the unpredictability and the viciousness of this virus, ano po ang iyong programa pagdating sa COVID-19?
Well, when it comes to COVID-19, ang lagi kong sinasabi dyan, I summarize it very simply. I call it jab to jobs. What we first have to do is to get vaccinated. And we have to roll out the vaccines properly. We have to make sure that the vaccines are effective and safe, have been handled properly. Lahat ng tao sa buong mundo yata naramdaman itong COVID na ito. And so we have to come back to give our people, get them back to work. And how do we do that? We do that, in my view, we do that by revitalizing the MSMEs, the small businesses that comprise 95% of our businesses and 62% of our employment in businesses.
What is your message to people who refuse to be vaccinated?
Well, they must understand that we cannot force people to be vaccinated. Karapatan ng tao yan. Hindi mo pwedeng pilitin na mag-vaccinate. Ngunit, sana naman maunawaan nila na kapag sila ay hindi nagpapabakuna, ay yung lahat na nakapaligid sa kanila, pati na yung kanilang mahal sa buhay, kanilang pamilya, mga kaibigan, yung kanilang kabarangay, lahat yan ay linalagay nila at risk yan.
You spoke about the socio-economic recovery of people. Very briefly lang, yung lockdown.
No,
Your comment?
No more lockdowns. Hindi na kaya ng Pilipino mag-lockdown. Hindi na nila kaya. It is too hard. They're going to too much hardship already. They just cannot do it. Maraming nga sinasabi, yung labag sa protocol, sinasabi, hindi na bali magkasakit basta may kita ako.
Poverty.
Let's talk about poverty. Ang aking katanungan, Senador, sa kasalukuyan, sabi ng PSA, merong 3.5 milyong Pilipino na walang trabaho, 2.5 milyong Pilipino naman ang nagugutom pag ikay nahalal na presidente ng Pilipinas. With these urgent problems of joblessness and hunger, ano po ang inyong gagawin?
Well, of course, ang mahaharapin ng bagong administrasyon ay talagang we have to create jobs because we cannot just leave the situation as is. We also nag-uwi tayo ng mga OFW. We are up to about 700,000. Those people who have come home, ay wala na silang trabaho dahil nawala yung trabaho nila sa abroad. Tapos yung mga gina-graduate natin ng mga estudyante. Kaya talagang ang pinaka-importante ay maparami natin ang trabaho at para pasiglahin natin ang ekonomiya.
Senator Bongbong, doon lamang sa hunger, pupuntahan ko lang. Dahil 2.5 million are hungry right now. What is your, I know you're talking about long-term, doon sa paghahanap ng trabaho. We'll talk about it, the small and medium enterprises. Pero ano ang immediate na solusyon mo doon sa mga nagugutom na tao?
Ngayon, ayuda pa rin. Yung tupad pa rin, yung AX pa rin. Diyan nabubuhay pa ang tao sa ngayon eh. Hanggat yung mga trabahong pinag-uusapan natin, hanggat lumabas na yan at hanggang may pagkakataon na sila na makapagtrabaho ulit, umaasa talaga sila diyan.
Can the government afford that?
The government, not forever. Certainly not forever. But we still have to find ways. That's why the government talagang nag-realign ng pondo nalipat from other departments dahil para i-concentrate dito. Ngunit sa ngayon, hanggat wala pa yung trabaho, talagang umaasa ang tao sa ayuda.
Kung ikay papalarin maging presidente ng Pilipinas, how do you balance the economic contributions of the OFWs and this unquantifiable cost, social cost, that contributes to the destruction of the Filipino family?
The ideal is that nobody has to go. That we have enough jobs here in the Philippines na hindi natin kailangan magbiyahe sa abroad. Unless talagang, not by necessity anyway, that they have a choice to remain here in the Philippines. May magandang pwesto, di puntahan nila para mas malaki ang kikitain nila. But we have to give them access. The ideal is to bring them all home if they want to come home. But of course, we are a long way from that. And you are very right. It's not spoken of very much, but we should speak of it more. Because there is a tear in the social fabric pagka matagal na nawawala ang OFW and with all the problems that it brings. So it boils down to jobs. It boils down to jobs here in the Philippines. And the only way to bring those people home, to bring our workers home, is to provide them with jobs.
Social media and pornography.
Senator Bongbong, let's talk about social media.
All right.
Noong 2021, ang year in review, yun ang tawag nila, report ng Pornhub, isang online adult video streaming website. Sabi dito, ang mga Pinoy daw spend 11 minutes and 30 seconds watching porn, making the Philippines top 1, beating Japan and France. At saka ngayon, some of the known media sites, apps, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook groups ay ginagawa ng alternative porn sites. My question is this, hypothetical, nalaman at na-confirm mo na ang iyong menor de edad na anak is addicted to cyber porn. Ano ang iyong gagawin, number one, bilang magulang? At ano ang magiging pulisiya mo pagdating sa welfare and protection of children?
At kinausap namin yung mga anak namin and to understand, so they understand that this is not normal. But you know what is being done while you're watching pornography is violence against whoever is involved. It's a form of violence, and that is why we are lucky that we have been able to have that talk with our children when they were younger, and I hope that other people will take that example na kausapin ng ating mga kabataan. And so it really, again, is a social problem. And the parents have to be involved in this and in explaining that this is harmful.
Rape-related abortion.
Let's go to abortion. Pero rape-related abortion. Ito po ang aking katanungan. Bilang presidente, at kung ika'y papalarin maging presidente ng Pilipinas, do you think, Senator Bongbong, is it time to enact a law on abortion that would allow pregnant rape victims the choice of legal and safe abortion?
Yes, I think for very severe cases, like you say, the majority of cases are rape victims, and I think that if it can be shown that they were raped and it was not consensual sex and that got them pregnant, then they should have the choice to abort or not. But still, for me, the bottom line is, when it comes to the subject of abortion, it is a woman's decision, because it is her body.
Drugs.
Let's talk about drugs, Senator Bongbong. My question, you are applying to be president of the country. Senator Bongbong, how much do you know about illegal drugs in the country? Gaano kalala ito? Are we or are we not a narco country? Depende sa iyong kaalaman tungkol sa problema ng illegal drugs. Ano po ang programa mo laban dito?
Well, nakita natin, unang-una, kailangan natin ituloy ang war on drugs, kung tawagin, because the problem continues to exist. Nandiyan pa rin ang problema. Kailangan natin din pag-aralan ang prevention at saka ang cure. Ang prevention, ang pagtuturo sa ating mga kabataan na huwag silang papasok dyan sa ganyang klaseng bisyo, sa ganyang klaseng buhay, at masisira at mawawasak ang kanilang buhay. Kailangan paulit-ulit natin sinasabi all the way to grade school, paulit-ulit through high school na hindi talaga, na naririnig talaga nila yan. And the other thing is yung cure. Pagka sumabit na talaga yung tao, na-addict na, meron tayong rehab naman. When we treat them properly, we should expand our rehabilitation facilities, not just regional, which until hanggang bawat probinsya siguro dapat meron, dahil malala talaga ang problema.
Philippine debts.
Senator Bongbong, let's talk about utang, Philippine debt. Kung ikaw ang papalaring manalo bilang presidente ng Pilipinas, how do you intend to pay the national debt of the country?
By revitalizing the economy. There's no other way. There is no other way to do it. We have to create value in our economy, and that value will be what we will use to service those debts. But in the business world, to maximize whatever funding you have, you take on some debt, so that imbis na 100,000 ang pera mo, ay nakakuha ka ng 200, 300 na utang, mas marami kang magagawa, mas magandang negosyo mo, madali mong bayaran yung utang. The secret, I think, the important thing that we must be absolutely sure of is that pag kailangan talaga ng utang, mahirap mangutang, ayaw natin gawin yan, ngunit paminsan-minsan kailangan talaga natin gawin yan, tiyakin naman natin na napupunta sa tama.
West Philippine Sea.
Senator Bongbong, let's go to the West Philippine Sea. Pag-usapan natin ito. Pag pinag-uusapan ng West Philippine Sea, Scarborough Shoal or Bajo de Masinloc, Panatag, ika nga, and the Kalayaan Island Group na northeastern part ng Spratly Islands. Yan ang inaangkin. Hindi inaangkin, yan ang atin. My question is, you are applying to be president of this country. If all diplomatic efforts fail, do you think the Philippines is strong enough and prepared to fight a defensive war against China to protect our territorial sovereignty?
Well, first of all, I go back to the premise. We must not allow diplomacy to fail. It is the only option that we have. The only way, there are three ways where territory can be gained or lost. And one is to arbitration with the agreement of both parties. Kasi arbitration nga, there's an arbiter between two different parties. Ang problema dyan sa China, ay sinabi na nila, hindi kami signatory dyan, hindi kami makikinig kung ano man ang magiging findings ng court. So, nandun na tayo, so that arbitration is no longer an arbitration if there's only one party, so it's no longer available to us. The second way that territory is lost or gained is through war. Now, that I believe is a option that we must dismiss outright. The third way is by bilateral agreement. And that's what we are left with. Bilateral agreement with China. We must continue to engage China. We must continue to engage the Chinese. And the diplomatic, pag nagpapadala tayo ng diplomatic protest, hindi sapat yun. We have to still continue to try and engage them in all many ways. I always use the example of the United States and China. Maalala ninyo, naging malapit ang nagkaroon ng diplomatic relations ang China at saka ang United States. Nagsimula ang usapan sa ping-pong. Sino naman may akala doon manggagaling yung solusyon? Kaya't subukan natin lahat ng paraan. Yung mga negosyanteng Chinese na may pamilya pa sa China, sabihin naman nila, baka matulungan nyo naman kami dito para baka maayos natin ito. Yung unahin natin, yung maliit lang na bagay, yung mga fisherman na hindi pinapapasok, yung mga mangingisda natin na siguro 100 taong na nangingisda doon, ngayon hindi na sila pwedeng pumasok. Unahin na muna natin yun. Yung kayang-kaya naman siguro na natin kausapin ng China, pabayaan nyo sila.
Presidential qualifications.
Let's talk about our 10th question. Let's talk about the presidential qualifications.
Yes.
You are applying to be the President of the Republic of the Philippines. It's a very complex, gargantuan job. Samantala, sa ating saligang batas, Article 7, Section 2 of the 1987 Constitution, ang qualifications para maging isang presidente ay mga sumusunod. Number 1, natural-born Filipino. Number 2, a registered voter. Must be able to read and write. Number 4, 40 years of age at the day of the election. Number 5, must have resided in the Philippines 10 years before the election is held. Right now, as we talk, Senator Bongbong, napapanahon na ba para amyendahan ang provision na ito ng saligang batas? Oo, hindi, bakit?
Dahil, palagay ko hindi. Dahil the concept behind the way the Constitution has approached the qualifications for President is to come from the point na sinasabi, anyone should be allowed to be President. Dahil mahirap, hindi nakapag-graduate, pero marunong naman, dapat kung talagang kaya, pwede siyang maging Pangulo. Hindi kailangan ng mga maging mayaman, hindi kailangan maging sikat, all of these things. And that's the idea behind that. The fix, if you want to call it that, for that, is not to amend the Constitution and to amend the qualifications for President. It is to change the political system in terms of our choice of candidates.